Hello, Saints. Pastor Omarosa. Did those words belong in the same sentence? Okay, so now, of course, Omarosa, she's having her last 15 minutes. So, let's pursue this story a little more. Pastor Omarosa. Now, Omarosa, when you think about what a pastor is, a person caring for a flock or congregation, a person who cares about encouraging people, but mainly a pastor is a person who preaches the gospel, what the gospel is. I guess they jump all over the Bible, but uh, I think a Christian pastor's primary thing is to bring people to Christ, right? Now I don't get none of that from Omarosa. Omarosa is a selfish woman, a bitter woman. And even this latest story, when they said she was being carried out after they told her she was no longer needed, screaming out obscenities. Now, I love obscenities. I do cuss. I'm not ashamed of cussing. I'm not a pastor or I'm not in ministry. So for her to go out of the White House calling people, I don't know what the exact words were, but they were something like, cocksucking son of a bitch. Or, get your goddamn hands off me. I'll sue this motherfucker. That kind of thing. I created Donald Trump. She went out like that, right? This is a pastor. So for me, this is just a bad witness. Because I would think that someone like this, calling themselves an ordained minister or pastor of a church, I guess she's she's assistant pastor at this point. Then she went and married a pastor a couple of years ago. Apparently there was some flack from his congregation. Many of them left because they didn't see that woman as being the first lady of their church. And I don't see it either. So I don't know what she was up to, but I'm going to just lay this on you. Go on YouTube, you do a little research there, and you'll see that this woman was making comments about the preachers of L.A. She lives in L.A. She became, after her reality show, she got fired from her reality show. She's so interested in the preachers of L.A. She thought it was a wonderful idea, is bringing God to the people and all of this kind of stuff. Just a guess, was Omarosa looking for her next reality show? I don't see no minister in her. I don't see no pastor in her. It seems blasphemous to me that she would be preaching the word and then going outside and cussing people out and tell them how unimportant they were and how important she is, because she has that kind of personality. Not only did she play that kind of villain on the reality show, which I never saw. I see clips, get an idea. But in her real life, every interview I ever saw her on, she's very much that character. So just the personification of evil, of nastiness, of one-liners. She's a bad person, or she appears to be a bad person. They chose her to play the primary bad person on this what was then a successful show. She can't even complete an interview without getting, let's say, a snippy. I'm sure that her interviews have to be edited quite a bit. We all saw that thing with the journalists a couple months ago. So we see the character. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Now, she has showed us over and over and over and over again that she is a woman of low character. So how is she going to just name herself a pastor? I saw some clip on there. She said she was in Africa and she touched a child with HIV. And that changed her life, and she received her calling in that moment. It's an honorable thing to say what you believe is the calling. But when I got saved, I didn't go back out and shoot up drugs. I didn't go back out and do all the things that I did as a drug addict. She doesn't seem to have changed anything, and she's the pastor. So I don't know about this congregation or what kind of. Anyway, this guy is this author that I adore. I love his writing. His name is Terry Hill. He wrote a series called Come Sunday Morning. If any of you guys who are watching me now like to read, that is a great series to read. Sunday morning, Come Sunday Morning. I think the first one was called, it was 3-book series, trilogy. Anyway, they had a character in there who was the first lady of the church, who had ambitions to be the pastor of the church. She was very much like Omarosa. That character, what was her name? You guys got to read that series. Cleveland. Samantha Cleveland. That's Omarosa. So I have to question motives. Why is she calling herself a minister? She's not interested in other people. Her and Donald got along so well because they have many of the same characteristics of being, anyway, they have many of the same characteristics. So I don't get it. And if Omarosa going to be trying to build some mega church, some kind of situation, I think it might have something to do with that reality show, though. That might be, she has an angle. There's nothing sincere about Omarosa. There's nothing humble about her. And I don't see there's anything particularly caring about her. So I don't know why she calls herself a pastor. Now she goes to write the tell-all book. So the pastor writing tell-all books about her time in the White House. Donald Trump made her. Now people will say bedwench. I haven't seen evidence yet. I haven't seen it, so I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't know what that woman was doing to earn $180,000 a year, sitting around the White House, just somebody on his arm for events, sit at the table, a little color, so that his cabinet or his meetings would look quite so vanilla. I don't see it. I don't see how Omarosa has done anything but be just be a very bad person. She was cast as a very bad person. In fact, of all the people in the world they could have cast as being the very worst person you could imagine, they cast Omarosa. And not to play somebody else, not to do a scripted show, to be herself. This is they call this reality TV. And they chose our pastor and our first lady of the church to represent the most evil woman on television. Now you go figure, because I can't.